stands ready to learn, to share, to collaborate as we strengthen the systems across the continent. Ladies and gentlemen, the pension sector holds immense potential. If we innovate and build together, pension can become Africa's most powerful drivers of inclusive development and old age dignity. If you noticed today, usually in Kenya we do Kenya national anthem and East African anthem. Today we also added the African anthem. The last one you saw, that's Africa's anthem. The reason is because we want to bring together the whole of Africa for best practices in pension matters. I know our older siblings, that is PSSF, has evolved through generations, but we are here as your younger sibling, and we are moving as fast as we can. I will do away with a bit of protocol today, if you allow me, since we have a very important guest, some very important guests from the neighboring country, for one of them to come up here and give us a few words before I invite PS Odede and then to invite our chief guest. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together to welcome the Minister for Public Service, Republic of Uganda, Honorable Wilson Muruli Mukasa. Please give it a round of applause.
He is the Minister for Public Service in Uganda and has served in several key cabinet roles, including Minister of Gender and Social Issues and Minister of Security. Before joining politics, he spent over a decade as a teacher and school principal, and he notably chaired the Uganda National Organizing Committee for the 2018 Global Peace Leadership Conference. Please welcome Honorable Wilson Muruli Mukasa.
Thank you very much indeed. Our chief guest, the Prime Cabinet Secretary of Kenya, and allow me to ride on the protocol that has been very well and clearly enunciated here. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is indeed an honor to address this distinguished gathering at the Pan-African Pensions Conference today, here at Daman's Leisure Beach, Diani, Kenya. And this brings us together, policy leaders, practitioners, sharing one vision to ensure that pensions go beyond capital preservation to achieving sustainable development and social security in Africa. This conversation is timely for us, particularly in Uganda, as we are implementing one of the most radical reforms of transforming the over 80 years of public service pension scheme from a pay-go system to a fund, the Public Service Pension Fund. And of course, there are three central objectives in this: ensuring affordability, sustainability, adequacy of retirement benefits, and social security guarantee, and deepening the financial sector and strengthen governance, which resonate with the conference theme. For decades, the mandate of African pension funds was singular and simple: capital preservation. This, of course, led to a concentration in safe but low-impact assets like government bonds, and our capital was secure. But it wasn't actively building our continent. We should therefore jointly resolve to move beyond the era where pensions were viewed only as a mechanism for capital preservation to a more sustainable, modern, and inclusive solution. This will ensure that pension funds are the primary builders of Africa's prosperity, where our domestic capital is the first choice for financing our own infrastructure, our industries, our innovations, a future where financial returns and national progress are two sides of the same coin. Therefore, pensions are more than a paycheck in retirement. They are a promise we make to millions of teachers, nurses, farmers, artisans, police officers, army, and public servants that a lifetime of work will translate into social security and a new opportunity. According to the estimate of the African Development Bank, Africa's annual infrastructural financing gap is at a staggering US dollars 1.3 trillion. For too long, we have relied on debt to bridge this gap, creating a debilitating burden that limits resources for essential services. There is a deep market imbalance, despite Africa having one of the lowest global default rates at around 1.4%. The local capital across sub-Saharan Africa remains disproportionately high, averaging between 8 and 9%. The solution lies within our reach. African pension assets have been growing. This growth represents a strategic opportunity to mobilize domestic savings for domestic development. Pension funds with their long-term horizons, steady cash flows, and built-in inflation protection are the perfect engine for Africa's development. Ladies and gentlemen, Uganda's pension transformation is more than a technical reform. It is the renewal of a social contract between the citizen and the state, one that balances fiscal sustainability with social equity. It is a promise that every Ugandan worker, whether in public or private, can look to the future with security, dignity, and pride. Across Africa, workers rise before dawn to open shops, till fields, teach children, protect the country, guard the offices. The savings are entrusted to us to give them protection and for us to grow. If we do our work well, these savings will come back to them as dignity in old age. If we do our work well, exceptionally well, these savings will also return to them as power that lights their homes, roads that link their markets, and clinics that heal their ailments of old age. Families and ecosystems that sustain their futures. That is the promise of pension capital aligned with sustainable development. It is prudent, it is practical, and it must be invested in our people, in our own markets, for our shared prosperity. The time for relying on external capital to solve Africa's challenge is over. The continent's vast, self-sustaining financial power resides within its pension funds. Let's leave this summit with clarity. Let's leave it with courage and a concrete plan. Let's connect, collaborate, and power Africa's future together. Let's ensure that Africa's savings build Africa's future. Together, we can build pension systems that not only protect our people in retirement, but also power the next phase of our continent's transformation. Thank you very much for listening to me. Asante sana, mabibi na mabwana. Thank you very much.
Chairman, just to let you know, there is a gift for Honorable.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give another round of applause to our minister. I say, I usually like throwing protocol out of the window. May I ask all the chairmen of parastatals, quasi-government bodies, please stand up. Please, wherever you are, just stand up and wave to us. Thank you, Chairman, Vice Chair, Kamana Wakilisha. Thank you, Jan Africa. There's another chair there. Any board of trustees from the organizations, like I saw the CBK pensions group, please all trustees. Okay, thank you. Can I have all CEOs in the room, please, to stand up, kindly, for us to see. You see. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you. All our brothers and sisters who came all the way from South Africa. I saw yesterday my friend Musa. He was very good at, or he's not in the room yet. Oh, you are there. Thank you. From Tanzania. Thank you. From Nigeria, anybody managed to come? Morocco? From Morocco? Thank you. From where? Who's from Nigeria? Nigeria, thank you. Namibia, my former home. Anybody from Namibia? Oh yeah, thank you, thank you. I would like to, of course, those whom we look up to, Bwana Koros, you are there. And then our regulator, Bwana Mishira, we have Secretary Pensions, but I want to make a very special mention of our administrator, immediate former administrator, because today I think is our last day of engagement. He has really carried us this far. Without him carrying us this far, maybe we would not have managed. Please stand up and give special recognition to Bwana Jose Akili. Thank you very much. This is the man who birthed the baby and made sure it had grown. Thank you very much, Dr. Jose Akili. Now, Bwana PS, as we rightfully put it, when we come to Mombasa, it's not just work. It should be work and pleasure. Please, just relax a bit. Everybody relax a bit, and you know you are in the best destination, which is recognized worldwide. Don't miss this opportunity. In the evenings, you can have your walks. In break time, you can also have your walks. Without wasting time, may I have take this opportunity to welcome our host PS, Principal Secretary, Public Investment and Asset Management, Mr. Cyril Wangunda Odede. Please give him a round of applause. Mr. Odede will speak on behalf of the Minister, and then welcome our Chief Guest, Madam Aurelia Rono. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Good morning once again. When the chair was introducing the CEOs, first I didn't want them to know me because of EGP. I know quite a number of them now knows that this is the man. And I think by next week, Monday, I'll be seeing applications for exemptions, but I'm going to talk about it later on. The chair talked about relaxing. This is the time for us to relax. I know quite a number of you don't have time to relax, but when you are told there is a conference in Mombasa, at least you will get two hours or 1 hour to relax. And that is what I told the chair yesterday. So, our chief guest, PS and my sister Aurelia Rono, Cabinet Secretary from Uganda. I know Uganda, you call them the ministers, not cabinet secretaries. From Uganda and the delegation from Uganda. Regulators and Board of Trustees, Chief Executives and Pension Administrators present, Fund Administrators and Managers, Investment Specialists, members, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is a great pleasure to join you today for the inaugural Public Service Superannuation Fund Pan-African Pension Conference under the theme Beyond Capital Preservation, the Future of Pensions. At the onset, I wish to thank the leadership and staff of the Public Service Superannuation Fund for putting together this important conference, a first of its kind in Kenya. This platform brings together pension fund managers, regulators, policymakers, and development partners from across the continent. The conference creates a valuable opportunity to share insights, data, and strengthen partnerships among practitioners in the pension space. Such conversations are timely and essential to navigate the shifting economic and demographic realities that shapes the future of pensions in Africa and beyond. The pension scheme trustees represented here today, your roles extends far beyond fiduciary responsibility. It is a noble duty that is national in scope and worth recognizing. As custodian of pensions, you are safeguarding the livelihood and dignity of thousands of retirees and their dependents. Such a responsibility deserves the highest form of support and acknowledgement. Congratulations to you all. I want to congratulate you all for doing that good job. As we view pensions not just as an instrument for post-retirement income, but a powerful engine for sustainable development. The pension industry is critical in driving economic stability and social protection. In Kenya, the PSSF, with its growing asset base, is well positioned to finance Kenya's strategic development priorities, from infrastructure and housing to green energy and digital transformation. We are committed to offering access to bankable, de-risked projects, especially through public-private partnerships. That meets your expectations, will advancing Kenya transformation agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, as we gather here today, we have a duty to reflect on the future of pensions, and especially your role in national development. It is no doubt that pension funds are at the core of the national savings. However, your investment strategies must not only grow members' assets, but entail the robust risk management, diversified portfolio, and adherence to global best practice. In this regard, each player in the sector must embrace innovation, maintain prudent governance practice that protect long-term interest of your members. pensions system worldwide are undergoing rapid change, driven by demographic and technological shifts, evolving labor market, and rising public expectation for transparency, efficiency, and trust. We must evolve with the time and deepen transparency in governance, investment decision, reporting standards, and customer service. Citizens should know clearly and confidentially how their funds are managed and how their future is being safeguarded. The State Department will continue to work closely with all the stakeholders to reform the sector, strengthen the oversight, enhance disclosures, and a driven monitoring framework. We understand that digitalization holds the key to modern pension ecosystem. Hence, let us embrace digital identity system, mobile platforms, automated processing, and secure data architecture. This will reduce administrative bottlenecks and enhance customer experience, which will ensure real-time engagement between members and service providers. Ladies and gentlemen, a strong pension sector is not only vital for social protection, it is also central to macroeconomic reliance. Your investment in public infrastructure and credit-worthy public-private venture create a fiscal space and financial stability for the nation. That is why we remain committed to supporting a policy environment where your investments are secure, returns are optimal, and public trust is upheld. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to thank the organizers once again for inviting us to be part of this landmark event. I look forward to a meaningful and sustainable engagement as we work together to build a stronger, resilient retirement benefit sector. Ladies and gentlemen, at this particular point, allow me now, because it is now my duty, I'm waiting for the chair to finish. Okay, the chair has finished. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, let me take this opportunity to thank Honorable Wilson Muruli Mukasa, Minister of Public Service, Uganda, for finding time to be with us today and also to share their experience in Uganda. And I know very well that we will also learn from the experience that side. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my duty and honor to invite our chief guest, PS Aurelia Rono, who is sitting in for the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi, to deliver the keynote address. PS, welcome.
She is the link between the executive and parliament, facilitating the execution of government business within parliament. Please welcome the Principal Secretary for the State Department for Parliamentary Affairs within the Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, CPA Aurelia Rono.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Honorable Wilson Muruli Mukasa, Minister of Public Service, Uganda, my colleague PS Cyril Odede, Principal Secretary, Public Investment and Asset Management, Ambassador Hussein Tunea Dado, Chairman, Public Service Superannuation Fund, Kenya, the CEO, PSSF, Dr. Jonah Ayabe, the board members, Public Service Superannuation Fund, Mr. Charles Mashira, Chief Executive Officer, Retirement Benefits Authority, Kenya, distinguished delegates, stakeholders, and partners. Good morning. Good morning once again. God is good. And all the time. And that is his nature. Wow. My name is Aurelia Rono, Principal Secretary, State Department for Parliamentary Affairs. It's a privilege and a great honor to join you this morning in this very, very important event, the inaugural Public Service Superannuation Fund Pan-African Pension Conference. Thank you for inviting the Prime Cabinet Secretary. I'm here representing His Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, His Excellency Dr. Musalia Mudavadi. He really would have wished to be with you this morning, but is away engaged in other official assignments. So kindly receive his warm greetings. I'm so honored and humbled to represent him today. Before I go through his speech, it's also good to let you know that in Kenya, especially our colleagues across the continent who are here with us, I first of all take the opportunity to welcome you to Kenya. Welcome home, as the president normally says. Karibu sana nyumbani. In Kenya, we have a state department called Parliamentary Affairs State Department that is domiciled within the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary. With the system of government that we have, presidential system of government, these state departments coordinate the government legislative agenda across the ministries, departments, and agencies in consultation with Parliament. That is the work of the State Department, to ensure that there is seamless engagement between the executive and the legislature. So today I'm here representing the Prime Cabinet Secretary, and I want to go direct and present his speech. Honorable Wilson Muruli Mukasa, Minister of Public Service, Uganda. Mr. Cyril Odede, Principal Secretary, Public Investment and Asset Management. Ambassador Hussein Tunea Dado, Chairman, Public Service Superannuation Fund, Kenya. Board members, Public Service Superannuation Fund. The CEO, Public Service Superannuation Fund, Dr. Jonah Ayabe. Mr. Charles Mashira, Chief Executive Officer, Retirement Benefits Authority, Kenya. Distinguished delegates, stakeholders, and partners. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm delighted to join you during this inaugural Pan-African Pensions Conference that brings together distinguished policymakers, pension leaders, and investment professionals from across the African continent. Let me warmly welcome those of you who have traveled to our country to participate in this gathering. The theme of this gathering, Beyond Capital Preservation, marks a defining moment for Africa's pension sector as we reimagine how long-term domestic capital can unlock the next phase of our continent's growth. The rallying call for all of us is to strengthen our commitment in addressing the challenges of shaping the future of Africa's pension systems, to enhance the pension industry's contribution to the socio-economic prosperity of our countries, region, and continent at large. Ladies and gentlemen, the actions we take today are critical to shaping Africa's journey to the future, which is anchored on Agenda 2063 of transforming Africa into a prosperous, integrated, and peaceful continent by 2063. We must deal decisively with the challenges ahead, including the pressure from Africa's youthful population, which accounts for 70% of the 1.5 million people living on the continent. With the projected rise in Africa's population to 1.7 billion in 2030 and 2.5 billion by 2050, this demographic surge will increase the demand for jobs, mobility, food systems, digital connectivity, housing, education, and health services. This demand push requires Africa to invest more in critical infrastructure, but a widening infrastructure financing deficit significantly slows down the pace of economic growth, weakens competitiveness, and undermines social development. It is particularly unfortunate that today, over 600 million Africans lack access to electricity, even as energy demand is expected to double by 2050. Millions of Africans also lack access to decent, affordable homes and are confined to the rapidly expanding informal settlements and deepening socio-economic vulnerability. Furthermore, only 27% of Africa's roads are paved, compared to 24.5% in other developing countries and a global average of 49%. This chronic underinvestment in development and maintenance of modern road infrastructures raises freight costs, limits market access, and isolates rural communities. It undermines productivity and regional integration. The infrastructure financing deficit, estimated at $400 billion annually, US dollars, through 2030, highlights the urgent need for homegrown, long-term financing solutions that will enable Africa to mobilize its own institutional capital to bridge the current investment gap. We cannot continue hoping for external funding in an environment where the emerging global financial architecture has significantly reduced foreign direct investment, official development assistance, and concessional financing. The tightening of the external financing presents both a challenge and an opportunity for Africa. It must turn to its own institutional capital to finance its development. The pleasant reality is that Africa has over 1.6 trillion US dollar investment in pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, national savings, insurance, and national banks. The solution lies in building a firm foundation of homegrown capital to support Africa's growth. Pension funds and sovereign vehicles are uniquely positioned to finance Africa's long-term infrastructure assets. These resources will underwrite macroeconomic stability, strengthen capital markets, promote inclusive development, and reduce dependence on volatile external financing. This is the base that Africa should use to stimulate sustainable growth and great jobs. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to briefly highlight Kenya's experience in positioning the pension sector as an important anchor in mobilizing our domestic capital base for development. 1, regulatory reforms have allowed pension schemes to invest in alternatives and infrastructure. 2, we've created innovative structures such as infrastructure asset-based securities and green financing instruments. 3, public-private partnerships have enabled us to attract quality institutional investors, including pension funds. 4, transformative national initiatives, including in affordable housing, renewable energy, and digital infrastructure, have cemented opportunities for long-term investment. 5, governance reforms through the Retirement Benefits Authority, enhanced transparency, member protection, and strengthened compliance have enhanced the efficiency of the pensions industry. These reforms have supported the growth of the pensions industry, which has over 1,000 registered pension schemes. The total pension assets under management reached 2.3 trillion Kenya shillings, that is 17.5 billion US dollar at the end of December 2024. The industry achieved a phenomenal growth of 30.7, the highest annual growth in a decade. From Kenya's position as one of the most financially integrated African country, we have a great opportunity to share our experience and partner with like-minded African countries to deepen regional capital markets, harmonize pension regulations, and co-develop regional infrastructure corridors. Our collective resolve should be to focus our national and regional strategies on key enablers of scaling up capital for development. This includes, 1, greater collaboration across borders on syndications, co-investment platforms, and regional investment pools. 2, policy reforms to stimulate allocation of pension funds to infrastructure, private equity, green projects, and alternative investments. 3, harmonize legal and regulatory frameworks to stimulate cross-border capital flows, encourage joint ventures, and reduce transaction frictions across African markets. 4, strengthen governance and fiduciary capacity to strengthen technical skills in project finance, environmental, social, and governance integration, climate assessment, and infrastructure. 5, create bankable project pipelines that meet institutional investor requirements. 6, deploy risk mitigation instruments, including blended finance, political risk insurance, credit enhancement, and fast loss guarantees to reduce risk and attract institutional participation. 7, expand market deepening initiatives, including infrastructure bonds, asset-backed securities, real estate investment trusts, and green financing instruments. Ladies and gentlemen, my foremost challenge to African governments is to unlock the infrastructure opportunities in the domestic and regional markets to invest in Africa's priority programs. By mobilizing our domestic pension capital prudently, sustainably, and strategically, we can deliver an infrastructure revolution that will shape Africa's next 50 years, securing economic prosperity for all the people and dignified retirements for our citizens. Envision an Africa buzzing with clean energy, modern highways linking thriving communities, decent homes for most families, and digital networks connecting minds across the savannas and the seas. This is the Africa we can build, not through aid, but with the steadfast savings of our people. Let me conclude by wishing you fruitful deliberations. When you're through with your official business, please take time to enjoy the rich cultural diversity, pristine tourist attractions, and hospitality of the Kenyan people. Thank you, and God bless Africa. And today, on behalf of His Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi, I now declare the Public Service Superannuation Fund Pan-African Pension Conference officially opened. Asanteni sana.
Let's just be upstanding. Let's all be upstanding and have a gift of appreciation for our chief guest and for all our speakers. Bwana Chairman, we have a gift of appreciation. Let's have the gifts ready. Can call upon our speakers. PS Cyril, karibu sana. Asante sana. PS Rono, thank you so much. Honorable Winnie, please welcome. And we'll also immediately after that take a group photo to remember this inaugural conference. Honorable Wilson, tafadhali karibu mbele, please welcome the front. Pierre Cyril, welcome as well. Welcome to the front. Ms. Rona karibu sana, welcome as well. You can go to the front, karibuni sana. Please, welcome. Please. Karibuni sana, makofi yao nyingine. Asante sana. And Bwana Chairman, please do have the honor of appreciating our guests. Asante sana. Thank you so much. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Wilson, thank you so much for your time. We celebrate you. Honorable Wilson Mururi, Minister of Public Service, Uganda, thank you so much. Asante sana. Honorable Aurelia Rona, makofi yake tafadhali, representing our chief guest, Asante sana, Prime Cabinet Secretary, many thanks. Wow, there we go. So remember nature. Visit the different beautiful sceneries in Kenya. And of course, PS Cyril, there we go. Makofi nyingine, a big round of applause up, DC. And now we'll have a group photo. There we have it. Thank you so much. So we'll have the photo. Asante, where the lion? There we go. And at this particular time, let's take the first photo together, just with the four. Then please, PSSF CEO, Chairman, Trustees, please be on standby after this particular photo. Asante sana. Let's take that photo. A big round of applause. The CEO joining the photo. Thank you so much. All right, thank you. Trustees, please join the photo as well. Trustees, karibuni sana. Trustees, karibuni sana. Karibuni trustees. And there's a reason why all the delegates are standing, because we've been told to relax. So dear trustees and all our guests, please get ready, because we want to show them something Kenyan. So get ready, get ready, get ready. And we may need to help them with the gifts. All right, makofi yao. A big round of applause. Let's appreciate. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay. We can get the gifts. Chairman and CEO will need your help in this to make this a remarkable and memorable moment. So this is Kenyan, and remember, we'll also be having a dinner sometime later on. So, CEO, there we go. Are you ready? Daktari? Daktari, you have to show us the dancing style, right? Absolutely. Let's go, everybody. Come on, come on. Let's show. That's it. Ah, Cyril is already there. Everybody, let's go. That's a Kenyan style. Just your shoulders. Everybody, just your shoulders. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Chairman, I can see you right there. Oh, Vice Chairman as well. Everybody, oh, let's go, everybody. That's it. Hey, Honorable Wilson, I can see you. Okay. Fantastic. As you come down, thank you so much. A big round of applause for them. Thank you so much. There we go. That's a Kenyan energy right there. Thank you so much. Fantastic. Well done, well done. We celebrate you. You may kindly take your seats. Thank you so much. Asante Sena, Bwana Chairman. Many thanks. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Many thanks, many thanks. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Asante Sana. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, just before we wrap up this first session, we want to appreciate all of you for being here. And for the next 20 minutes, we're going to listen to a very critical engagement. For the next 20 minutes, we're going to focus on appreciation of gains in the pensions sector. So this is where we are ready to learn, and we are ready. Our speaker is here, the regulator. So ladies and gentlemen, 20 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
He has over 20 years' experience in insurance and pensions. With academic credentials in mathematics and social protection finance, he now leads with clear vision and strong dedication to keep people's savings safe and help his organization grow. Please welcome Retirement Benefits Authority Chief Executive Officer, Charles Mashira.
Makofi tafadhali, applaudis s'il vous plaît. S'il vous plaît. Thank you so much. Over to you, 20 minutes.
Our chief guest, PS Parliamentary Affairs, representing Honorable Dr. Musalia Mudavadi, our PS Public Investment and Asset Management, Cyril Wagunda, the Minister of Public Service, Uganda, Honorable Wilson Mukasa, State Minister for Public Service, Mary Grace Mugasa from Uganda, Chairman PSSF, Ambassador Governor Hussein Dado, the Chief Executive, Dr. Jonah Ayaibe, all CEOs present in this forum, all industry captains present in this forum, all members of the various boards of trustees from the various schemes in Kenya, Director Pensions at the National Treasury, sons and daughters of Africa present here today, and all protocols observed. Good morning once again. I know we are constrained in terms of time, and therefore I'll try to shorten my presentation. My name is Charles Mashira, CEO, Retirement Benefits Authority, and let me start by requesting that we all join this team from PSSF, the chairman, able chairman Hussein Dado, and the team led by my brother, Dr. Ayaibe, for bringing Africa to Kenya, for bringing Africa to Diani, and for hosting us in this wonderful conference. Being your inaugural conference, we salute you for doing it well, Jonah and the bigger team. But let me go to my presentation because time is a limited resource today. Just to indicate that the regulator oversights an industry, the retirement benefits industry in Kenya. I was sitting between David Koros, the CEO of NSSF, and the CEO of PSSF, and they are reminding me that the total assets under management is, from the two schemes, is now 40% of the total portfolio, or close to 40%, and we should reset them to a little bit more. But going back to our mandate is to ensure that there is hygiene in the retirement benefits sector. We need to ensure that we protect the rights of the various sponsors and members of the various pension schemes. But more importantly, and I think I'll try to dwell my presentation on the growth factor, because growth is critical to ensure that our people retire in dignity. That we must safeguard this space. We must ensure as a regulator that the rights of members of pension funds in Kenya are protected through and through. But I agree with the two gentlemen. They are saying it's time to revisit the Retirement Benefits Act, to relook into it and see what can we do to improve. And I have heard the speech from the Honorable Prime Cabinet Secretary on the agenda. And for sure, RBA is an organization which offers a facilitative agenda. I think the time to relook at this, 25 years ago, the issues were to eliminate corruption. The issues were to eliminate the ills that ailed this industry. But here we are today. We need to take a trajectory which empowers our people to have dignity in retirement. Turning to what we consider to be a robust retirement benefits industry in any country, and please allow me to put these matters into context, because we may celebrate about where we are and the growth, but for us, we have 6 pillars that we keep on looking at, 6 drivers that give us the challenge and tell us whether we are on the right trajectory. May I indicate and say that when I look at it from the point of view, how many people are saving for retirement in this republic? The question of coverage, the question of the people accessing retirement benefits, I think that's the first pillar. And we must always be reminded that as we drive policy and legal framework, we must remember who are these persons who are participating, what is the proportion of that number to the labor force. I bet in Kenya, because I'll share the data, the number is not very good, but I think we are somewhere. The second thing is adequacy of retirement benefits. How much do people partake, or do people receive, the retirees, when they exit from service? And that number is very, very important for us, because it's an indicator of the well-being of somebody who has given 40 years of public service and what they will receive in their retirement life. We cannot gainsay that we need pension funds which are properly funded. We need pension schemes where contributions are limited on time. PS, with the Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, and PS, Public Investment and Asset Management. This industry, and I believe the audience that we have here, majority are Kenyans, we are still celebrating because the government of Kenya today has come forth to support this industry, particularly on the policy front, and 2, a critical one, incentivizing and giving back through tax incentives to all Kenyans. I stand in this podium, and if there's anything I can celebrate is that the 27th of December 2024 remains a critical day for the pension sector in Kenya. And I have no doubt, because we'll have presenters from Africa, in subsequent presentations, that we must be proud and say the current tax regime in Kenya is the best in Africa, if not in the world. That people are retiring without paying taxes for their retirement income. Let me not run away from the fact that we also need pension schemes to be well run, and therefore the efficacy of the people who drive and who do pension administration, fund management, custody, and others, that we must make sure that the costs are low, simply because 95% of the schemes in Kenya are defined contribution schemes. What is a drive growth factor in a defined contribution scheme is investment income and low returns, low expenses, so that the members can benefit. And of course, we need to ensure that we have sustainability of these pension funds going forward. Let me start this journey, and I'll try to be brief because time is, as I said, is a limited resource. But just to give you the picture of what we have walked through, 25 years down the line. In 2000, the pensions funds, assets under management, were barely 50 billion Kenya shillings in the whole Republic of Kenya. And the number of people participating in pension funds, as compared to the labor force, was only 13%. 10 years in 2010, this industry grew tenfold to 420 billion Kenya shillings. And the participants grew to marginally to 15%. In 2020, another 10 years down the line, and these are true numbers based on extracts from financial statements of the various pension funds represented here and others, that the number grew to 1.4 trillion Kenya shillings and the coverage to 20%. And today now where we are, as of June this year, the assets under management by pension funds in Kenya now gross over 2.53 trillion Kenyan shillings, and we have 26.5% of employees participating in retirement benefits funds. P.S., our chief guest, we cannot shy away from some of this. We must celebrate some of these gains. But yes, we are not good enough if we don't cure the issue of coverage, and that will keep on coming back and forth. Putting this into another context, because adequacy is critical. If you look, we have a pension survey which was conducted the other day, and to put it in context, you then start realizing, yes, we are proud that we have 2.53 trillion in terms of assets in Kenya shillings, but 55% of the retirees in this survey, the outcome is that they earn pensions below 20,000 Kenya shillings. You know? Please pardon me for the international guests that we have today because we have not converted these numbers into international currency, the dollar and others. But just to give an indication, 20,000 Kenya shillings is little money to sustain a retiree. You know? It's only 2% of this population who earn 100,000 Kenya shillings. My invitation, because this is a meeting of high-level dignitaries, let's ensure we know the cause as to why people are receiving low pensions. Majority of it is because everybody accesses what is available in the kitty when they move from one employer to the other, even when they are not jobless. I think that's a main issue, amongst other issues. But the second thing to look at is, even for these retirees, when they were surveyed and asked, how is your retirement life and with all these resources? They still, 83% of the respondents indicated that they still have to sustain more than one dependent. So you're earning 20,000, 55% of the population, and you're also supporting families at the age of 60, 70, 80, and 90. Ladies and gentlemen, I think these are the challenges that we have, and we must face them. And I believe that is why IIB and the team asked us to speak, to forget about the question of preservation of capital. What are the gains and what are the challenges and what do we need to do? And we must come to the table as an industry to start focusing on these issues. I'm proud when I sit here today and as I stand before you Just to say that yes, we have gains in the assets, we have gains on the coverage, but I want to recognize these two gentlemen for what they are doing. For sure, Chairman PSSF and your team. I know the chairman of NSSF is not here, but the two funds today hold 930 billion Kenya shillings out of the 2.5 trillion Kenya shillings. 40%, close to 40% of the industry assets are now being driven by NSSF and PSSF. And we know PSSF is 4 years old, or thereabout. I know NSSF has been there, but because of the reforms, you are also largely 4 years old, because before that we were saving 400 Kenya shillings, which was not worth even talking about. So we are happy for what you are doing, and please, our encouragement, because people look at public service and they think public servants cannot be able to do some of these things without irregularities. I think we are proud, and the regulator will ensure that we safeguard and ensure that this space remains free and hygienic. In the interest of time, please, just to note that I'll keep on talking about numbers. 2.53 trillion Kenya shillings represents 15% of our GDP. And that tells you, it speaks to something. And when the government comes back and says, we are opening up, giving back for tax incentives, that we need to entrench a national retirement benefits policy. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen, not many nations in Africa have a retirement benefits policy. We have a policy to guide us in the near future, to push us forward, to deal with these challenges. And I believe next year when we meet, perhaps we will also refocus and say, what is a success story? Because any policy without implementation is not worth the ink that is written on. So here we are. The next thing is to look at the issues of membership. I've talked about the question of inclusion. We have 7.53 million accounts. But the active members in Kenya only barely 4 million. So almost 50% have accessed and left the money because the law says you cannot access everything. The actual people who are participating and making contributions on a monthly basis, together with their employers, is 50% of that number. And that is not a good story. That's why I'm saying it's a challenge that we need to look into. But we're also happy with the growth trajectory, and we have no doubt that in the next 3 years, we should be able to cross over towards 4 billion Kenya shillings, 4 trillion Kenya shillings in assets under management. And I have no doubt that with a good policy, with the framework of the National Retirement Benefits Policy, slowly by slowly we'll get there, but this is our target. Ladies and gentlemen, turning to the issues of adequacy and sustainability, I'll not shy away, not because David Koros is here. I know he's ready to answer all the questions that you have regarding contracting out of pension funds. He has promised me that those issues will be dealt in this forum today. But for me and from where we sit is, we need to look at the NSSF Act 2013 and the benchmark it has laid and the foundation it has laid, that all schemes in Kenya must have a contribution rate if they want to contract out, at least of 12% savings from 400 bob. That's very critical. The second thing is, and David, we have seen fundamental growth in the last 3 years. I could be wrong, but I doubt whether that I could be erroneous on this. But I'm very sure you're almost doubling the value of assets under management in the last 3 years. I don't want to make a political statement because all of us belong to different parties, but I'm very sure that the Kenya Kwanza government is delivering on this piece. And numbers do not lie. You know? But the second thing is to look at, with these increased contributions, are we having an impact on the adequacy? Are we addressing the question of people earning pensions less than 20,000 Kenya shillings? I think the answer is a yes, and a big yes for that matter. The third thing is, when we look at the increased investment space, due to these high savings, NSSF today is able to invest in asset-backed securities. We know, it's not a secret, that We have infrastructure projects where bigger schemes are participating, and we need to give them a provision to take the ticket of ensuring that they invest in the Kenyan market, invest in asset-backed securities, grow this economy, but over and above that, we also ensure that the space is securitized and we have hygiene. So David, we commend you, but we also want to invite you to the space. We know there are 400,000 registered companies in Kenya. We know. We also know that the number of employers limiting contributions to NSSF are around 80,000 employers. That's like 20% of the total registered companies. We know some of the companies do not even have employees. You know, we have this agenda. Everybody, when they are going through their employment life, or you will set up a company and use the name of your wife and my own name, and we form a company, and it is dormant. We are not asking you to pursue those ones, David. But there's so many MSMEs in this nation who are not limiting contributions to NSSF. We need to grow the number of employers in this space. And with the growth of number of employers, I think we have had a discussion with David about cannibalizing. Are we is NSSF cannibalizing occupational schemes, or are occupational arrangements cannibalizing the savings under NSSF? I'm very sure he has promised me that you'll deal with that. But I think from where I sit, is we need to see more employers, because you have the mandatory powers to compel every employer, and you have the resources to pursue them. I look at the trajectory, and I will not go to too much details, but just to give you a spice as to where we are. This is a civil service, or the space of the public sector pension arrangement. Forget about the numbers, but these are projections. The red curve shows the expenditure, the trend of expenditure by the civil service pension scheme. The green curve shows what Ambassador Dando and the team are doing under PSSF. At some point, we will wean out pensions for civil servants from the exchequer. And it's coming very soon. That date is coming very soon. But just to give you that we are on the right trajectory, and I think the numbers in the last 3 years are reflecting into something. And we want to commend you, Michael and Jonah, for what you're doing in this space, for also ensuring that PSSF, the scheme that is hosting us here today, in terms of non-remittance of contributions, they have a very exemplary record that they ensure contributions are remitted. Let me skip this slide because you have spoken about the impact of GDP and where pension funds are. Let me just offer the proposition that we could remain committed to protect this space through sound governance arrangements. Can I proceed to the next slide, please? But just to re-emphasize that the National Retirement Benefits Policy remains a critical document. Please go to the next slide, please. Yes, the National Retirement Benefits Policy remains critical, and PS, Public Investment and Asset Management, together with PS Aurelia, we will come to you on behalf of the industry. We are an organization that engages the stakeholders to seek for more growth-oriented proposals to be converted to regulatory framework or legal framework. Going forward, please allow me 4 minutes maximum. One, we recognize, please go to the next slide. We recognize the challenges that we have. Next slide, please. That we still have the challenge of low pension coverage. I will not repeat what I've said. That we know we have challenges of non-remittance of contributions. PS will be coming to you. We need to punish employers who do not limit contributions when they have deducted contributions. We need to strengthen the law to ensure that these persons are punished properly. And number 3, all these forums seated here, if they were to speak to, and they will be speaking during this forum, we still have a big problem of pension funds being invested with a hard mentality. Sorry for the fund managers who are in the house, the investment advisors, but you cannot explain that 2.53 trillion Kenya shillings is 50% or 53% is in government, 70% actually, if you take the insurance companies. 70% of this money is in government securities. We need to diversify. We need to protect our people. And the call is today, not tomorrow. So we will be coming with proposals for amendment. Let me skip the next two slides because they were just to spice up where we are, but just to indicate that the growth of pension funds in Africa is projected to grow by more than 220% by 2040. Let me end my presentation by speaking to this slide. Colleagues, for those who are in Kenya, we have visitors from South Africa. The South African pension system has been realigned. They have introduced what they call the two-port system. We are trying to encourage Kenyans and limit people from accessing money when they're still serving. But I think there's a proposal that perhaps we should allow people to save 70% and never allow them to access it until they attain retirement age. But also open a window because this is Africa. We must find our own solutions. Allow for a pot of 30% of that fund, which can be accessed for short-term needs. I think we will come to that space, but we need to be deliberate and come and agree that this is a good proposal. So that people do not have to access 50%, people do not have to look for resources when they can borrow from their pension funds or can access within the window of 30%. We call it a two-port system. It has nothing to do with an innovation. It's already working in South Africa. And I think it's time for Kenya to embrace this, to eliminate the challenge that we have today in regards to access. Next, please. Just to request that we need to rethink in this space. We need to recalibrate the invest. I agree fully. I think it has been alluded. Table G under the Retirement Benefits Act, although it has 15 asset classes, we need to relook at it and make it more robust, make it more sensitive to where the pension funds are today. And I think we are ready to engage. We have the Virtual Assets Act today. We have the crypto space legislated today. The regulations are under development. Pension funds should not be left behind, as long as we are able to ensure that we manage the risks associated in this space. I have no doubt that we need service providers who are here, are working towards ensuring that we have member-centric propositions, and for future generations. Ladies and gentlemen, we have no doubt that we must embrace ESG. I would have wanted to go into this slide, but we have limited time. Finally, and this is my last slide, please, next slide. We need to come forward with proposals, and we will do within the next few months, with proposals that ensure that we have more preservation of benefits. We need to introduce sub-accounts, and I forgot to say that we need also the time and the window for provident funds in Kenya should cross. We need to get there. It can't be that somebody works for 40 years and you save for 40 years and we give you a lump sum and 2 years down the line, you are down the drain. The space for provident funds must be crossed, especially with the current tax regime that we have been given. Implementation of PSSF Act, David, 2013, it has nothing to do with what you're doing. It's just we need to ensure that all the people who sell the frothy drinks in the evenings, all the people, we have so many establishments. Let's bring them into the basket because we have the powers. Let's have horizontal growth of more employers participating in this. We must penalize non-remittance of contributions. We must have a discourse on more diversification of investment assets. I think we have spoken to the issue of the provident funds. We need to encourage more innovations. We need to allow for sandboxes. We must bring this because this space is purely voluntary, largely, in this country. We must embrace more sophistication, and to the extent of employees on contractual terms who earn gratuities, I think we are very conscious that they have a better space if they could transfer their gratuities to pension funds to earn investment income. Ladies and gentlemen, if I had more time, I would have wanted to go further and further, but we have limited resources in terms of time. May I say thank you very much. May God bless you. For those who will come after us, if we have stepped on your toes, please forgive us, but I think we must speak to this subject to make the lives and the future of Kenyan retirees better. And the whole agenda, I believe, is to ensure that we have dignity in retirement. Thank you very much, and may God bless you all.
Many thanks, and we do have a gift of appreciation that will be delivered to you by the CEO. PSSF. Are you ready? Let's get the gift for Retirement Benefits Authority CEO, Karibu San. Just go to the front, we take that photo as you receive your gift of appreciation. Asante sana, CEO, we appreciate your leadership. Asante. Thank you so much. Appreciation, many thanks. All right, it's exactly 30 minutes past 11. And can I request that we allow our chief guest and her delegation to leave first? We'll have 20 minutes for our... And if you have any questions, further questions after break, please come back. We have 20 minutes, but please take 15 so that we can save on time.
The largest EV operator in Kenya, with around 35% of all our boda or two-wheelers are electric. So 50% of that actually is the company initiative where we have co-financed. So we have what we call primary drivers. So these are the guys that are giving us more than 80 hours a day. So ideally, these guys really depends on our platform as the main income generating option. For ladies, luckily enough, we are the pioneer of female category on our platform. What does that mean? Is female for female. So female category, we have female drivers, and they opt in and they opt out, whether they only want female passengers.
So jana ulikuwa na pili, na leo Latif. What a coincidence.
From this moment onwards, if there's anything related to this company, bring it to me. Amazon is back.
Kwani what happened to me? Wallahi siwezi kumbuka chochote. Maybe mimi naweza kosa kuelewa situation yako vizuri. Lakini naweza kupigia one of the senior doctors that najua.
What if I'm being hard on Diana juu niko jealous? And what am I blaming her for?
Only 19 bob for 1 hour or 45 bob for 3 hours. All you have to do is download and use my Airtel app or simply dial *544#. Always be in the know. Buy the happy hour bundle today. Now bado tuna grow. Airtel.
This week on The Circle Way.
The Circle, long time ago, adopted as a member centricity kind of a strategy. And in a way, then, we are able to ensure that we align ourselves to the needs of the members of the circle.
Only na sako inanionyesha like kukuwa responsible na pesa yako, money discipline. Apart from me kuwa rider, imeni elevate from rider to driver.
Bila loan wewe ukakuwa. Juka mimi yangu iliisha. Niwe hakuna mahali pengine ningeenda kama Olin nipate loan, ningekuwa tu nyumbani. Lakini sasa najifunia juu niko na biashara.
We are going to celebrate 50 years since existence of this great organization, and all of this is courtesy of our members.
This Friday at 7:40 p.m. only on NTV.
Yes, kase. Mimi niko na side hustle mpya. Yes, nimeacha mambo ya majambati na mambo ya mataya. Siku hizi mimi ni mtu wa nduti. Yes, nduti. Yes, moto mbaiki. Yes, napemba watu. Unajua ukiwa mtu wa nduti, lazima utapotu Chelsea, Ponepa. Yeah, you never carry alone. Yes.
To get Nduthi by Skiza na Nation, dial star 812 star 832 hash.
We are Nduthi forever.
Skiza na Nation.
What's up, Team Beats and Buzz? Tuko Nax Vegas. Tumekuja kurudi Natalie nyumbani amechosha. It's enough.